Wakanda. Hello and welcome to the Property Simplified show. Today we are on location at the African Heritage House. This is the most photographed house in Africa, and it's a beautiful architectural marvel set on 8 acres. Today we're taking you inside this beautiful place that has 5 rooms. It has a beautiful scenery that makes you want to stay here forever. We're talking about how Donovan conceptualized this house. Find out more about the rich architecture and the beauty on the Property Simplified show. I am your host, Claire Munde. Welcome. Thank you for having us here at the African Heritage House.
Karibuni, it's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes.
Give us a brief introduction of yourself.
My name is Otieno. I'm the one who is managing this property right now. There's a trust that Alan had set up which will take over immediately we are done with the probate or the legal matters. Yes.
Tell us more about him and your interaction with him, how you met, and what inspired him to build this place.
I met Alan, after college I got employed. I was just looking for a job. So then I got employed by Mrs. Murumbi, who was the wife to Joseph Murumbi, who was the second vice president of Kenya. And the way Alan and Joseph met was through a sculpture called the Burger Mask. The other name is Animba. It's from Guinea. There was an exhibition in Nairobi and Alan went for that exhibition on the first day, and he saw that mask and he paid for it because he liked it. He fell in love with it. But as the rule is, in any exhibition, even if you pay for something, you can't pick it until that exhibition is over. So when Joseph Murumbi came the following day, he also saw that mask and he wanted it. And he was told that, it's been sold. And he was very curious to find out who was this guy who has the same interest, because Joseph Murumbi was also an art collector. Yeah. In fact, one of the few Africans who appreciated art. Yeah, so that's how they met, and they agreed to co-share the mask until they got another one. The mask later on became the symbol of African heritage. They had a shop downtown along Kenyatta Avenue where I&M building is before they were moved back to Banda Street. And then they had a branch at Libra House and then one at the Carnival. Yeah.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Now, tell us about how Donovan ended up living in Kenya and making Kenya his home, because he's originally from the United States.
Yeah. Alan got employed by the US government under the USAID program, and he was posted to Nigeria during the Biafra War, that was in 1968, as a relief officer. So when he went to Nigeria, that's when he fell in love with the African culture. He worked for a bit, then he quit his job and flew to France and bought a van, which he drove all the way until he got to Kenya. And this is the place. All through, he wasn't sure where he was going. He had no clue at all. Yeah.
Okay.
So when he got to Kenya, this is the place that he decided that he was going to settle in.
Okay.
So that's how he ended up here in Kenya.
Which people can use as accommodation.
Yes.
Tell us more about them. How many rooms are there? What kind of activities can we expect if we come to the African Heritage House?
We have 5 rooms. There's a family room that can take 4 people. There's the master, which is very expensive, and then we have 3 doubles. They have names. We have the Lamu room, Moroccan room, and the Bakuba room. Those are themes, and that's simply because most of the artifacts that you'll find within those rooms are from the regions that I've mentioned. Yeah. So people come here for just to go through the tour and learn about our heritage and see these things that most of them you can't find anywhere right now, because probably the people used to, that technology, that technique has not been passed over to the generation that is coming up now. So a lot of these things are not being done by most of these tribes that used to do them before. So the people come here for the tours only, or they can come here for a tour with a meal, or they can come here for a wedding reception, or even the wedding reception. I mean, wedding ceremony, not the reception. Wedding ceremony. The people who come and do that here. The people who come just to have their private parties here. We've had companies launch some of their products here. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. How many acres is this land?
8 acres.
8 acres,
yeah.
Okay. So it's subdivided. We have the main building,
yeah.
That is the main attraction. And then what other structures do we have?
It's just the main building, and then we have the servants' quarters and the solar house. That's all we have. And during COVID, just before COVID, Alan wanted to do another building that he was going to have his permanent, that was going to have his collections, a permanent collection place to display most of the pieces that he had. Because, I mean, we have so many pieces that some of them have not been displayed. So he needed to have a gallery where he could display some of these things. So that is still on course. It's something that one of his visions and wishes that we that we really want to achieve as a trust. Yes.
Tell us, as we wrap up this interview, what are some of your fondest memories of Alan?
Alan, his stories, and anytime he was doing a show, because Alan did shows just to promote Africa and African culture. So we do shows and which travel around the world, and some were done here in Kenya locally. Whenever Alan had a show coming up, I don't know what would get into him, but he would get so worked up. And I kept on telling him that, Alan, this is the same thing that we've been doing over years. So it's the same. There's no reason, but that was Alan for you. I mean, the way, perfectionist. Everything had to be just right. You cannot
cut corners.
Yeah. If it was this line, it's that line. You can't go around like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was Alan for you.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was his creativity. He had an eye that not very many people have. The vision that he had about these things and where to put them. Alan would buy something knowing exactly where he was going to put it. Yeah. Knowing. It wasn't about trying it out, but he knew exactly what he was going to do with it. Yeah.
The African Heritage House is located in Mlolongo and sits on 8 acres. The main attraction is the 5-bedroom double-story house overlooking the Nairobi National Park. The building's architecture was inspired by the mud mosque in Mali. At different intervals during the day, you're sure to see and hear a cargo or passenger train passing through the standard gauge railway. And if you're lucky, you might catch a glimpse of a lion hunting for her prey at the national park. The design concept for the house was borrowed for Moroccan themes. Many of the pieces at African Heritage House have been collected over decades, and you'd struggle to find similar items today. For example, the type of fish traps, which were repurposed into light fixtures, were gotten from the Indian Ocean and are no longer in use. Some of the cushions are made from cowhide with hints of beading, while other cushions are from mud cloth sourced from Mali and across the African continent. Nigeria, being Alan Donovan's entry point to Africa, there are many pieces of art inspired by the West African country, with artists from the country having been flown in to do the work. Being a visionary, Alan worked with like-minded individuals to bring his ideas to life. The roaming lady next to the pool, for example, was conceptualized with a welder after he got old phones and didn't know how to put them into use. The pool area and changing room are anything but ordinary, from the Mazaris floors, Lamu doors to the Tinga Tinga paintings that fill the walls. The room gives a relaxed feeling. As you head towards the house, the serene greenery gives you a feeling of tranquility coupled with the view of the national park. The ground floor of the house has collections from Alan's wide travels and interaction with design. From the pot to the Baga mask, all these were conceptualized with art in mind. Fun fact, you see the kente material used in the curtains? Well, you can tell whether a fabric was made or woven by a man or a woman from the size of the loom. According to Tom, men were always moving around while putting the fabric together and would make a narrow loom as compared to women who were mostly in one place, their house, who made a wider loom. Now you know. Going through the corridors leading up to the rooms on the ground floor, you find a lot of beaded artwork. In addition to aesthetics, functionality is another key factor considered in the design of items in this house. On some of the beds, what would appear to be art is actually a safe of sorts for sorting and storing jewelry and other valuables. The bathrooms also have bathtubs with a view that makes you want to stay in all day. Exhibitions are also held in the house with jewelry and clothes up for sale. Some of the items for sale include cutlery that was made by Karen Blixen's chef. The creativity comes out in every corner, like in the piece in the living room on the second floor, which was made out of, get this, a camel's stomach. On the top floor, one gets to take in the view of the park. By the time you've completed a tour of the house, you gain a deeper appreciation for African heritage. Alan, in his visionary and perfectionist style, really went all out to showcase the rich heritage of the continent.
Hello! I'm just winding down after doing a tour of the African Heritage House. I hope your mind has been blown as much as mine has been. This beautiful place, and you've learned that there's so much that the African culture has to offer. This has been the Property Simplified show, and I have been your host, Claire Munde. Until next time, you do have a good one. Bye!